We'll be starting with the environment section from third quarter of 2023. Now, Akardi Salu is a mixed cropping system often found in the drylands of Karnataka. It encourages biodiversity on farmland and is traditionally practiced on rain-fed agricultural land as dryland agriculture. Akardi Salu views weeds favorably and pests with tolerance instead of trying to destroy them. Now, greenwashing refers to the practice of making false or misleading claims about green credentials of a company or a project. There is a risk that projects funded by green bonds may not deliver the expected net environmental benefits. Now, Kamlang Tiger Reserve location is in the Lohit district of Arunachal Pradesh and is named after Kamlang River. The climate is subtropical and Glow Lake falls within the reserve. The flora concerned over here are common species of trees including Amora valachi, that is Amri tree, Gemlina arborea, that is Ghamari, and faunas include snow leopard, clouded leopard, tiger, Himalayan palm civet, hornbill, etc. Now, Namdapha flying squirrel, which was missing for 42 years. Now, it's a flying squirrel resurfaced in Arunachal Pradesh. It's a mammal nocturnal in nature and endemic to northeastern India. Only known with certainty from a single specimen collected in Namdapha National Park, which has evergreen forest, moist deciduous forest. Namdapha also has subtropical forest, temperate forest, and alpine biomes. The habitat of Namdapha National Forest it occurs in dry deciduous montane forest. Namdapha flying squirrel habitat is in dry deciduous montane forest occupying moist forest tracts along streams. Its status is critically endangered and it is protected under the Wildlife Protection Act of 1972. Now, Manis mysteria, it's a new species of highly endangered pangolin. It is the only mammal wholly covered in scales. So, pangolins are the only mammal species wholly covered in scales. The IUCN status of Chinese, Philippines, Sunda pangolins are critically endangered on the IUCN Red List. Indian pangolins are listed in Schedule 1 and are considered endangered. So, Chinese, Philippines, and Sunda are critically endangered. Indian pangolins are endangered on the IUCN Red List. Now, Conocarpus trees, it is an invasive mangrove species recently banned by Gujarat government. Earlier, Telangana government has also banned it. Conocarpus is a genus of two species of flowering plants in the family of Combretaceae, native to the tropical regions of the world. It is widely used in public spaces for its ornamental look. Now, petroleum coke or pet coke. Pet coke is a carbon-rich solid material derived from final cracking process of crude oil refining. It is used as a replacement for coal due to its high calorific value, also used in cement manufacturing, lime kilns, industrial boilers, aluminium anodes, etc. It is hyperphobic, which means it repels water, less volatility and produces low ash residue. Vizhinjam International Seaport. It is located in Vizhinjam, Kerala. It will be the country's first deep water container transshipment terminal. It is being built on a public-private partnership model set to be completed in 2024. Now, Palai Karnai marshland. It is a freshwater marsh and partly saline wetland situated in Chennai. So, Palai Karnai is in Chennai and it is partly freshwater and partly saline. It is one of the Ramsar sites from India. On its eastern periphery, marsh is flanked by Buckinghamshire Canal. So, Buckinghamshire Canal flows on the east of the marshland. Now, moving on to some long form current materials from environment. Now, UNFCCC COP28. Recently, 28th Conference of Parties of UNFCCC was held in Dubai, UAE. Now, about COP28. COPs are annual conferences that take place to discuss on the ways to address climate crisis. A crucial part of COP meetings is the review of nationally determined contributions. So, review of nationally determined contributions are conducted here. which are submitted by the member countries under the Paris Agreement of 2015. It also adopted the final document called UAE Consensus. So out of COP28, we get the UAE Consensus. Now, key outcomes concern 4 pillars, which are energy transition, finance, livelihood, and inclusivity. For energy transition, that is fast tracking a just, orderly, and equitable energy transition, we got the launch of Global Renewable and Energy Efficiency Pledge, the Global Cooling Pledge to COP28, which provides countries an opportunity to commit to sustainable cooling with concrete actions, Oil and Gas Decarbonization Charter. For fixing climate finance, we got the mobilization of $83.9 billion to finance climate change in the Green Climate Fund, Adaptation Fund, Least Developed Countries Fund, and Special Climate Change Fund. Operationalization of Loss and Damage Fund to help vulnerable countries cope with the impact of climate change. Declaration on a global climate finance framework. Now, focusing on the people's lives and livelihoods, we got the first implementation report of Sharm el-Sheikh Adaptation Agenda. Now, COP28 UAE Declaration on Agriculture, Food and Climate, COP28 UAE Declaration on Climate and Health. So, Agriculture, Food and Climate and Health. Now, COP28 UAE Declaration on Climate Relief, Recovery and Peace. Global Goal on Adaptation, that is UAE Framework on Global Climate Resilience, was adopted. These were all adopted in the COP28 UAE. It guides long-term adaptation efforts in context of temperature goals referred in Article 2 of Paris Agreements. Now, Global Goal on Adaptation is a collection of commitment under Article 7.1 of Paris Agreement aimed at enhancing world's adaptive capacity, strengthening resilience, and reducing vulnerability to climate change. Now, underpinning everything with full inclusivity. Launching of COP28 Gender Responsive Just Transition and Climate Action Partnership. Appointment of Youth Climate Champions. So, 2 sections of the society are being targeted. First of all, we are getting the gender responsiveness, and the second is the inclusiveness of youth in the climate dialogues. Now, India and COP28, we co-launched the Leadership Group for Industry Transition, that is LEAD IT 2.0. We co-hosted the Green Credit Program, and we participated in the Mangrove Alliance for Climate Ministerial Meeting. Now, LEAD IT 2.0 will focus on inclusive and just energy transition, co-development and transfer of low-carbon technology, and financial support to emerging economies for industry transition. LEAD IT was launched by India and Sweden at the UN Climate Action Summit in 2019. So, this will be 2.0 of LEAD IT. Now, India co-hosted with UAE event, which was called Green Credits Program. The Green Credit Initiative focuses on voluntary environmental actions involving the community, private industry, and individuals. India participated in the Mangrove Alliance for Climate Ministerial Meeting. MAC seeks to upscale and accelerate conservation, restoration, and growing plantation efforts of mangrove ecosystems globally. It was initiated by UAE and Indonesia during COP27. India is also a member. Now, India also issued national statements. It declared that it has successfully reduced the emission intensity vis-a-vis GDP by 33% between 2005 and 2019. So this is huge. We have reduced our emission intensity, which is also a part of our NDC, nationally determined targets. Now, India also achieved 40% of the electric installed capacity through non-fossil fuel sources, 9 years ahead of its target for 2030. Now, between 2017 and 2023, India has added around 100 gigawatts of installed electric capacity, of which around 80% is attributed to non-fossil fuels. So, 80 gigawatts from non-fossil fuel between 2017 to 2023. Now, some of the initiatives. In COP28, we saw the Global Green Credit Initiative by India, mobilization of Loss and Damage Fund, and Global Renewables and Energy Efficiency Pledge. And we have the Fossil Fuel, Oil and Gas Decarbonization Charter. And we also got the African Green Industrialization Initiative, which was launched by African leaders at COP28. Now, Greek Global Green Credit Initiative by India. It serves as an international platform for dialogue, collaboration, and exchange of innovative environmental programs and instruments. Loss and Damage Fund, which was first announced in COP27, Sharm el Sheikh, and it was operationalized in UAE during COP28. Now, loss and damage refers to the negative consequences arising from the unavoidable risks of climate change, like rising sea level, heat waves, crop failure, etc. Now, loss and damage fund is meant to compensate countries already dealing with climate change. Now, global stock take COP28 marked the first global stock take of Paris Agreement. Now, Global Renewables and Energy Efficiency Pledge, signed by 118 countries on the sidelines of COP28, it aims to triple the global installed renewable energy capacity to at least 11,000 gigawatts, and it wants to double the global energy efficiency improvement rate to more than 4% by 2030. It also wants to phase down unabated coal. Now, Fossil Fuel Oil and Gas Decarbonization Charter, 50 companies representing more than 40% of the global oil production have signed on the Oil and Gas Decarbonization Charter, a global industry charter dedicated to speeding up climate change and achieving high-scale impact across oil and gas sectors. Now, Africa Green Industrialization Initiative, which was launched by African leaders at COP28, aims to accelerate green growth of industries in Africa and attract finances and investment opportunities. G7 Climate Club, led by Germany and Chile, along with 36 member countries, including Kenya, the European Union, Switzerland, and others. It is an open, cooperative, inclusive forum of climate ambition countries with the goal of supporting the effective implementation of Paris Agreement and decisions thereunder. It aims to support accelerating climate action and increasing ambition to achieve global net zero greenhouse emissions by around mid-century, with a particular focus on decarbonizing industry. Now, about UNFCCC. The headquarters is in Bonn, Germany. The genesis of UNFCCC is from Earth Summit in Rio de Janeiro in 1992 and was formally adopted in 1994 with near universal membership. Members are 198 countries that have ratified the convention and are called parties to the convention. The objective is stabilizing the concentration of greenhouse gases in the atmosphere and preventing dangerous human interference with climate system. Now, Global Green Credit Initiative. The Prime Minister of India launched the Global Green Credit Initiative at COP28 in Dubai. About the Global Green Credit Initiative, the Global Green Credit Initiative has been conceptualized as a mechanism to incentivize voluntary pro-planet actions as an effective response to challenge of climate change. It envisions the issue of green credit for plantations on waste or degraded lands and river catchment areas to rejuvenate and revive natural ecosystems. It aims to facilitate global cooperation and partnership through exchange of knowledge, experience, and best practices in planning, implementation, and monitoring of environmentally positive actions through program mechanisms like green credit. Now, India's Green Credit Program, it is a market-based mechanism to incentivize voluntary environmental actions across diverse sectors by various stakeholders like individuals, communities, private sector industries, and companies. It was launched in the Union Budget of 2023-24 and formally launched in October 2023. In the initial phase, Green Credit Program will focus on two key activities, which is water conservation and afforestation. The Indian Council of Forestry Research and Education is the administrator of the program. Private companies can buy these green credits as part of their CSR obligation. Now, moving on to Global River Cities Alliance. The Global River Cities Alliance, led by National Mission for Clean Ganga. So here not just India, but a sub part of Indian policy, which was National Mission for Clean Ganga, launched the Global River Cities Alliance in COP28 in Dubai. Now, about the Global River Cities Alliance. See, Global Cities River City Alliance is a unique alliance to propagate river-sensitive development in cities around the world. It extends to River Cities Alliance. So, River Cities Alliance was initially launched in 2021 by National Mission for Clean Ganga. And the aim of the mission is to foster global collaboration for river conservation and sustainable water management. The members include 275 river cities worldwide across 11 countries, which include India, Australia, Japan, Bhutan, Egypt, etc., along with international funding from agencies like World Bank, Asian Investment, AIIB, and ADB. Now, about River Cities Alliance, it is a dedicated platform for river cities in India to ideate, discuss, and exchange information for sustainable management of urban rivers. The alliance is a partnership of two ministries, which is Ministry of Jal Shakti and Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs. It was launched by National Mission for Clean Ganga in association with National Institute of Urban Affairs. The alliance will focus on three broad themes, which is networking, capacity building, and technical support. Now, groundwater scenario in India. Union Ministry for Jal Shakti released the Dynamic Groundwater Resource Assessment Report for the country for the year 2023. India is the world's largest user of groundwater, exceeding the use of United States and China combined. Also, the entire northwestern region is predicted to experience critically low groundwater availability by 2025. 78% of the wells in Punjab are considered overexploited. Now, Mount Merapi. Recent eruptions at Mount Merapi led to the death of 11 hikers. It is in the Central Java region in Indonesia. It is an active stratovolcano located in Central Java in Indonesia. It has erupted regularly since 1548. It is 2,891 meters in height and is situated near a subduction zone. Here, the subduction of Indo-Australian plate is taking place under the Eurasian plate. Now, Indonesia is part of the Pacific Ring of Fire and experiences significant volcanic and seismic activities with approximately 130 active volcanoes. Now, Green Industrialization Initiative. African leaders launched the Green Industrialization Initiative during the COP28, aiming to accelerate green growth in African industries and attract finance and investment. The initiative builds upon the existing $4.5 billion African green investment from UAE. The initiative underscores the importance of green industrialization to harness Africa's vast and quality resources to secure prosperity for all. Africa has 40% of the world's critical minerals necessary for energy transition, such as chromium, cobalt, bauxite, copper, gold, iron, etc. And Africa also has world's largest natural carbon sink in the form of Congo Basin, Niger Basin, and other parts. Now, eco-sensitive zones. The National Green Tribunal has instructed the government of Karnataka to resolve the issue which is causing the delay of declaring Shithali Wildlife Sanctuary as an eco-sensitive zone. Now, ESZs or eco-sensitive zones are area notified by Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change and protected areas such as national parks and wildlife sanctuaries around these areas. Now, the objective is to act as shock absorbers to protect areas to the protected areas by regulating and managing the activities around such areas. It is also to act as transition zones from areas of higher protection to areas involving lesser protection. Now, the size. Indian National Wildlife Action Plan of 2002 to 2016 stated that land within 10 kilometers of the boundaries of national park and wildlife sanctuaries is to be notified as ESZs. However, it can vary depending on the location and specific needs of the protected area. Now, notification is done by Union. However, the Environment Protection Act of 1986 does not mention the word eco-sensitive zones, but the government uses Section 3, Clause 2, Subsection 5 of the Act to rule Section 5 of the Environment Protection Rule 1986 to declare ESZs. So Section 3 and Section 5 of the rules and Section 3 of the Act. Now, notification under the section, the Union government has the power to take measures for it. Restrictions of area in which any industries, operation or processes or class of industries, operation or processes shall not be carried out or shall be carried out subject to certain safeguards. So this is the section under which the Union government has the power to declare such areas. Now, prohibited activities. Commercial mining is a straight no-no. Major hydroelectric projects cannot be established in such areas. Handling of hazardous substances cannot be done over here. Discharge of untreated effluents is also a no-no. Brick kilns cannot also be set up in these areas, and setting up of polluting industries which have high potential. So it is an open-ended definition. Multiple industries can fall within the ambit of this definition. Now, moving on to Setihali Wildlife Sanctuary. It is in Shimoga district of Karnataka and was declared as a wildlife sanctuary in 1974. It provides shelter for otters and wild water birds. Its vegetation includes dry and moist deciduous forest. Dry and moist deciduous forest. Towards the west, with an increase in rainfall, semi-evergreen forest. So dry, moist, and semi-evergreen. The sanctuary is home to species of animals such as white-backed vultures, Indian nightjar, white-bellied dingo, tiger, leopards, elephants, among other. Now, Mandagade National Bird Sanctuary is part of the wildlife sanctuary, which is Shitali Wildlife Sanctuary. It includes the Mandagade Natural Bird Sanctuary. Now, moving on to white hydrogen, the scientists have discovered a large reservoir of white hydrogen in France. Now, white hydrogen is found naturally in Earth's crust and does not require any energy intensive process for its production. It has been termed white because it does not generate any greenhouse gas. White hydrogen is also known as natural gold or geological hydrogen. Hydrogen produces only water during combustion, making exceptionally clean source of energy. Hydrogen fuel has been classified into several types based on method of production, which is brown, which is hydrogen obtained from coal; gray, which is obtained from natural gas and methane; blue, that is obtained from methane and natural gas along with carbon capture; and green, which is obtained from renewable energy. So brown from coal, gray from natural gas, blue with carbon capture, and green using only renewable resources. Now, Brazzaville Declaration, summit of 3 basins was held in Brazzaville, that is in Republic of Congo. Now, about the Brazzaville Declaration, it was signed in 2018 by Democratic Republic of Congo, and Indonesia. The objective is to protect the Kuwait Central region in the Congo Basin, the world's largest tropical peatland, from unregulated land use and prevent its drainage and degradation. The Congo peatland stores equivalent of 3 years of global greenhouse gas emissions. The declaration aims to implement coordination and peatland ecosystems. Now, the basins involved here are Congo Basin, Amazon Basin, and Borneo, Mekong, South Asia Basin, but no one was from. So these are the 3 basins, but initially it was signed with Congo, Republic of Congo, and Indonesia only. So Brazil must have added later on. Now, Congo Basin, it is the second largest tropical forest in the world in terms of area. Amazon Basin is the largest tropical forest, and Mekong, Borneo is the third largest carbon sink. Now, Congo Basin, as we read, it is the second largest tropical forest in the world in terms of area. It spans across 6 countries in Africa, that is Cameroon, Central African Republic, Democratic Republic of Congo, Republic of Congo, and Equatorial Guinea and Gabon. Amazon includes 9 countries, which are Brazil, Colombia, Peru, Ecuador, Venezuela, Bolivia, French Guiana. Mind you, here it's French Guiana, and in Congo we have Equatorial Guinea, Suriname, and Republic of Guyana. Gabon, Guyana. Borneo, Mekong, South Asia Basin. It is the world's third largest carbon sink. It is composed of 2 subregions, that is the island of Borneo and the Mekong River. The Mekong River Basin has 6 countries, some parts of China, Myanmar, Thailand, Laos, Cambodia, and Vietnam, and Borneo is the 4th largest island in the world. It is divided between Brunei, Malaysia, and Indonesia. So Brunei will be the island over here, and Mekong will be the Mekong Basin countries, which are 6 in number: China, Myanmar, Thailand, Laos, Cambodia, and Vietnam. Now, Amangarh Tiger Reserve. The tiger population at Amangarh Tiger Reserve has increased marginally. It is located in Uttar Pradesh. It is one of the 4 tiger reserves in UP along with Dudhwa, Pilibhit, and Ranipur. It was declared as a tiger reserve in 2012. It was originally part of Corbett National Park, but park went to Uttarakhand after bifurcation. So this is the remaining part which is in Uttar Pradesh after the division of Uttarakhand from along with Corbett National Park. Now, the vegetation of the reserve is a combination of grassland, wetland, and dense forest. So from plains to forest region we are moving over here. Also, the increase in the population of tiger in the reserve has pushed the leopards in the reserve towards human habitations. Now, Global Declaration for Protection of River Dolphins. 11 Asian and South American countries have signed a Global Declaration for Protection of River Dolphins. The countries involved here are Bangladesh, Cambodia, India, Nepal, Pakistan. And from South America, we have Bolivia, Brazil, Colombia, Ecuador, Peru, and Venezuela. The aim is to halt the decline of all river dolphin species by 2030. The measures to be taken are improving the water quality in the dolphin habitat, creating protected areas, tackling overfishing, and involving indigenous communities in the affected regions in protecting the animals. Now, about river dolphins. River dolphins are aquatic mammals that reside exclusively in fresh water to or brackish water. So, fresh water or brackish water, not seawater. Now, the 6 surviving river dolphins, one is extinct, which is Chinese river dolphin or Baiji. Now, Baiji is extinct in 2007. Now, 6 surviving river dolphin species are Amazon, Indus, Ganges, Irrawaddy, and Tuxi. Now, these are all endangered. However, Yangtze finless porpoise is critically endangered. So, Yangtze is critically endangered, but Amazon, Indus, Ganges, Ganga, and Irrawaddy and Tuxi are endangered. Now, moving on to Annamalai Tiger Reserve. A committee visited the reserve to check the progress of the first tiger rewilding project. The Annamalai Tiger Reserve is located on the southern Western Ghats in Tamil Nadu. It is surrounded by Parambikulam Tiger Reserve, Chinnar Wildlife Sanctuary, and Eravikulam National Park. So here, rewilding of tigers are taking place. It was declared as a tiger reserve in 2007. It has approximately 2,500 floral species supporting a wide, diverse forest type, which is wet evergreen, semi-evergreen, moist deciduous, dry thorn, and shola forest. At heights, we get shola forest. In the west, we are getting the evergreen, then we have semi-evergreen, then we have moist deciduous. Moving towards east, we get the dry deciduous as well as dry thorn forest, which lies in the rain shadow area in the southern Western Ghats. Now, habitat rights for Baiga tribes. The Baiga, particularly vulnerable tribal group, has become the second to get habitat rights in Chhattisgarh after Kamad PVTG. Now, about habitat rights, according to Section 2, which represents the rights in the Forest Rights Acts, habitats include areas comprising of customary habitats and other such habitats in reserved forest and protected forest of primitive tribal groups and pre-agriculture communities and other foreign dwelling scheduled tribes. So, scheduled tribes, primitive tribal groups, and pre-agricultural communities. Now, habitat right grants a community right, certain rights and control over their traditional living areas, cultural practices, economic activities, ecological knowledge, and natural resources. These rights protect and support the community traditional way of life and ecological wisdom passed down through generations. Granting of habitat rights. Habitat rights are given to PVTGs under Section 3(1)(e) of Scheduled Tribes and Other Traditional Forest Dwellers Recognition of Forest Rights Act of 2006, FRA. Now, out of the 75 PVTGs, only 3 have habitat rights, which are Bharia tribes of Madhya Pradesh, which was the first, followed by Kamra tribes in Chhattisgarh, and now Baiga tribes in Chhattisgarh again. Now, other types of rights under Section 3 of FRA Act, we have the individual forest rights, which is community forest rights and land titles. Individual forest rights are rights to hold and live in forest land under individual or common occupation for habitation or for self-cultivation for livelihood. Community forest rights seeks to restore all customary and traditional rights of forest-dwelling communities. Land titles recognizes the rights of an individual or family or community on the lands. However, claims should not exceed more than 4 hectares of land. Land titles given under FRA is a legal title but not transferable or alienable. Now, responsibility for implementation of the Act lies with state governments or union territory administration. The Gram Sabha has the authority to initiate the process of determining the nature and extent of individual or community forest rights or both. Now, we have the State of Rhino Report 2023, which is released by International Rhino Foundation. The report has been released by US-based International Rhino Foundation. In India, we get the greater one-horned rhinos, which is Rhinoceros unicornis, primarily residing in India and Nepal, though there is a population that occasionally crosses into Bhutan. Now, Bhutan, India, and Nepal work together to implement a trans-boundary management and strategy for the greater one-horn rhinos. Now, greater one-horn rhinos, which is in India, the population is approximately 4,014. IUCN status is vulnerable. We have other species which are white rhino, black rhino, Javan rhino, and Sumatran rhino. Black rhino, Javan rhino, and Sumatran rhino are critically endangered, and Java rhinos being the most least in number, like 76 are currently there, and all are critically endangered. Also, we have white rhino, which is near threatened. Two horns, single horn, single horn. Javan rhino and Sumatran rhinos have single horn, along with greater horn rhino in India. However, black rhino and white rhino, I think these are all found in Africa. Just check it where these are found. Must be Africa and the surrounding. Moving on. Air pollution in Mumbai and Delhi. Like in Delhi, 2023 witnessed dangerously high levels of air pollution in Mumbai as well. NAC are standards for ambient air quality with references to various identified pollutants notified by Central Pollution Control Board under the Air Act of 1981. Now, air pollution is the presence of chemicals, particulates, or biological materials in the atmosphere that can cause discomfort, disease, or death in humans. In India, air pollution is measured according to National Air Quality Index developed by Central Pollution Board in 2014. AQI is based on 8 pollutants. The 8 pollutants are PM10, PM2.5, NOx and SOx, which is nitrogen dioxide and sulfur dioxide. Carbon monoxide is included here along with ozone, and we have ammonia and lead also. Now, the AQIs are divided in 6 color codes, which range from AQIs of 0 to 50, 51 to 100, 101 to 200, so 50, 100, 200, 300, 400, and 500. Now, moving on. List of pollutants under NAC is AQI based pollutants, so 8 plus 1, 2, 3, 4 plus 4. So 12 pollutants are considered over here. That is AQI plus benzene, benzopyrene, arsenic, and nickel. Now, moving on to United Nations Forum on Forest. India hosted a country-led initiative as part of United Nations Forum on Forest in Dehradun, Uttarakhand. Now, about UNFF. It was established in 2000 by a resolution of ECOSOC, that is Economic and Social Council of United Nations. Now, Forum on Forest promotes the management, conservation, and sustainable development of all types of forests. India holds the distinction of being a founding member of United Nations Forum on Forest. Now, country-led initiatives' primary goal is to facilitate the sharing of best practices among the United Nations Forum on Forest member states for implementation of sustainable forest management and United Nations Strategic Plan for Forest of 2030. Now, India led the CLI focused on one of the themes of forest certification. So, forest certification was done over here. The theme was forest certification and sustainable forest management. Now, forest certification is a market mechanism to promote sustainable use and management of forest and to identify sustainably produced products for consumers. It is a voluntary process whereby an independent third party, which is the certifier, assesses the quality of forest management and production against a set of requirements, which is standards predetermined by a public or private certification organization. Now, mercury in mining of gold. A study has found that tropical birds are being affected by mercury pollution due to expanding artisanal and small-scale gold mining operations. Mercury is commonly used in small-scale gold mining to separate gold from other minerals. This is due to its ability to bind to gold and form amalgam. As a consequence, small-scale gold mining releases large amounts of mercury to the environment, and it is estimated to contribute to approximately one-third, that is more than one-third, 37% of mercury emissions on a global scale. Now, about mercury, it is a naturally occurring element found in air, water, and soil. The sources are volcanoes, geothermal springs, geological deposits, which can be natural, coal combustion, industrial use, water incineration, and mining, which are man made. Now, impact is exposure can cause severe health problems, neurological and developmental issues in fetuses, infants, and children. Long term exposure can lead to damage to brain, nervous system, and kidneys. Now, Minamata Convention obliges the government parties to take actions to address mercury emissions and to phase out certain mercury containing products. That'll be all for this section. Thank you.